She is a cold one today, guys. My truck said minus 22 this morning. Feel like temperature of about minus 32. So today's video is this truck. F150 with a 5.0. Timing chains, synchronizers. You know the deal. First of all, we need to get the compressor started. And it is cold out here. We'll see how this thing does starting. This ain't looking good. Whew, she's cold out here. Come on. What's going on here? Okay. Well, we'll have to throw some heat in here or something, I guess. Back inside. That's miserable. Whew. Luckily, I talked the customer into dropping the truck off last night, so that's going to be nice and warm. Let's start on this vehicle once I get that compressor thawed out. All right, a little heat on the switch. We got her going. She sounds cold though. She sounds miserable and pissed off. All right, back to business. Well, guys, you can probably see that I screwed up. Oops. I forgot to pull the dipstick tube out. So, I guess I owe my dipstick tube, but yeah. Simple mistake. You just push this tab in there, and it should turn. Maybe. Turns out, yeah, god dang it. Okay, so we got this cover off. Solenoids are all attached to it. That doesn't matter. Actually, the service manual tells you to pull the cover off with those on there. So one thing I want to mention here is this boss right here. There's actually a sleeve inside. Let me grab an Allen wrench. It takes a 10 millimeter and you turn that. It's like a spacer. Let me show you from the back side here. Stay there. So you can see right here, it's like a spacer, and that turns. So it's not so much of loosening it up when you pull it apart, but when you put it back together, you want that to bottom out against the oil cooler. And that's just meant as an adjustable spacer. So when you tighten this bolt up, this bolt goes through and it goes into the oil cooler in the back. Well, the oil cooler bolts separately, so there might be a little misalignment or whatever. So this is your adjustment, so the cover is snug. So that's what that's for. Kind of a weird design. You could probably just leave it there, but I just loosen it up like the manual says. Pull the cover off. When you go to put it back on, you snug this up, run this adjuster in, and then you can bolt your bolt. Put your bolt back in there, tighten everything down, and it doesn't put stress on the cover in this area right here. So that's one thing to note there. All right, so next step is to rotate this engine over, and you always rotate it clockwise. So as you're looking at it, you rotate it clockwise. And we need to get the right hand timing marks up at the top there. I believe the crank keyway gets put to like a 730-ish position. You would think with all their cam tools and stuff that they would have something to lock all this in, but we're just gonna turn it over, shoot for a dial on the clock, and go from there. All right, so here's my special tool. It doesn't hurt the crankshaft at all. You can turn it, just kind of pinches a keyway there and you're able to turn it over, no problem. So we got the keyway at about 730 on the bottom there. And according to the manual, it says look for the timing mark to be on top. Well, it's not on the bottom, it's on top, but they don't tell you a position or anything like that. There is a picture there. It doesn't look like it's 90 degrees to the head. It looks like it's off to one side. So we're good there. Next step is to pull our tensioner bolts out, pull the tensioner off, and then we can pull the guides off and get the chain out of the way. There's a couple 8mm bolts down here. There's one. There's the other one, and there's the tensioner. Set that on the bench. Okay, we can slide our bottom guide off. Once you get it on that little channel there. There's the guide. Set that on the bench. All right, and pull the top guide off here. One bolt holding that guy. So you may have to turn the crankshaft just a little bit to get a little slop. And there we go. Pull the guide off. What happens is the chain gets caught in these little ridges, which should happen. But if there's not enough slack in the chain, then you can't slide this off the pins. So you can turn the crankshaft just a hair, get a little slop in it, and then pull the guide off. Set that on the bench. All right, now we can remove our chain. One chain out of the way. All right, now this stays where it is right now. We actually have to rotate the engine over. I believe it's a full revolution and then back to 330 position, and then we can pull this chain off. Let me look at the service manual and I'll be right back. So we got a crankshaft turn, one revolution, back to 330 on the crank. There's the keyway, about 330. Our mark ends up to be up there. So now, same as the other side, pull the tensioner off, our guides, and then we can start replacing our synchronizers. Those put on the bench. Again, this guy, get that guy off there. What, my hands off? Another one down here. And it looks like we'll have to rotate this back just a hair. Rotate that just a hair. Get our guide off there. And then we'll turn it back to the 330 mark. Which I'll tell you what, this is not really a precise way of doing this. I mean, that could be considered 330 right there. But that's what the service manual says, so that's what we're doing. Our chain off there. So we're ready to remove our synchronizers here. I got my holding tool. I'm just going to zip these bolts off real quick here. All right. Now we got to release that tensioner. So you pull ahead. We're going to pull these off here. Actually, I'm going to pull the bolts out of them. They will not get reused. They are torque to yield bolts. There we go. That one was a little stuck. All right, so that's set off. Let's set up this side first and then we'll do that side. Well, sorry for the furnace running. It's kind of noisy, but we gotta keep on keeping on here. So I'm gonna replace these filters that are in here. One in each camshaft. We'll get the new filters here. Like I said, there's one per camshaft. They just slide in there, so the open end is facing us. And just stuff it in there. We got one for this other one. Stuff that guy in there. All right, we're replacing these tensioners also. So we pop that off. It just slides in. There's a tab on the bottom of this tensioner. That's the bottom shoe for the tensioner. So yeah, this goes in here. This goes on the bottom. Doesn't hold anything. It's the shoe for the chain there. So let's get our tensioner put in there, and then we can start putting our synchronizers back on. Oil those O-rings up nice. There we go. She's in there all the way. All right, so that's in there. We got a nice holder on there. That's kind of handy. Let's get our bottom shoe put back on there. There's a certain way these go on there. Just like that. So we're just getting our timing marks lined up here. So our exhaust is a single mark, intake is a double mark. And then I'm looking for this mark, left hand, it says L. Double check again. And there it is right there. Make sure it's on our shoe back here. We got our new bolts. Let's put them suckers in. Just want to make sure that this is all together where it should be. The dowel's not out of place or anything. Sometimes it can kind of feel like it's just not quite right, but you'll know it when you get the dowel where it's supposed to be. You're gonna have just a little bit of slop in the dowels, but definitely want to make sure that there's no alignment issues. Like if they didn't go back equally, start over and figure out what's going on there. All right, I'm just gonna take a look down the top here, and what I'm looking for is to make sure our camshaft is all the way back, our synchronizer is all the way back, and it is. The chain looks nice and straight. Okay. I'm going to check and see what torque spec that is. We're going to torque these 6 bolts, and then we can start reassembling this side and then move on to the other side. All right, so we're holding the camshaft here. These are 133 inch-pounds and then an additional 90 degrees. Secondary chain tensioner. So this is the tensioner that goes between the 2 cams. When you put these in, they are collapsed fully. They're fully collapsed like that. So in order to release that, just push down on it. It'll pop up under spring pressure. And then that will set your base tension until you get oil pressure, and then oil pressure will tension this. So I just wanted to make sure that it's a very important point. If you do not release the tension on there, it will only come up about that far, and the chain will be completely loose and will not tension. So make sure you release these so there's like a pre-tension, spring tension on the chain first, and then you'll be good to go. You see these stickers? Make sure you get these off. You saw the little filters we put in the end of the camshafts? These will plug up all sorts of stuff. So you can see they don't come off easy. One thing I like to do is soak my brake clean. Little brake cleaner. Let it kind of marinate for a while. Then you can kind of peel these stickers off, hopefully. It eats the adhesive. And then you won't have all that crap running through your engine. So that's what you got to do. Make sure you get these stickers off. Do not leave them on there. Okay, we're ready for a chain now. This chain, they're both the same from this bank to this bank, but you can see there's a link here that's a different color, single link, and up here another link that is a different color. So it doesn't matter, obviously there's only one link, so one goes on the crank gear on the timing mark. Let me pull this off so you can see the mark is right here, so it lines up with that tooth and that tooth. Obviously this is the first chain we're putting on. It sits back on this row of teeth, so we're going to start by getting that aligned with this link on the bottom. Takes a little finagling. All right, where are we at down here? We are right on the mark. Right there. Up here, we're tooth off. So right there's the mark, and there's our link. Perfect. Make sure it's facing the right way. Jeez. Make sure it's facing the right way. Get it up into our channel there. Alright, let's get our top one in. This one just sits on there. Make sure it is in the channel though, especially down here. Tensioners are the same also, so we'll get that one put in. Just double checking all the part numbers just to make sure. Alright, I'm gonna go see who's at the door and then I'll be right back. 89 inch-pounds on these guys. And the tensioner bolts. That does it for that. Let's recheck our marks. Our mark is right here. Okay, lined up. That mark is lined up. Let's pull the pin. We got our bolts loose here. I'm just going to pull those out. Get rid of those. Same thing with the tensioner. We got to pull forward on it, push forward on it. And you push down. And then you turn that sucker. And there is. And just like the other side, a couple more filters in here. That's stuck in there all the way. We'll pull our bottom shoe off. All right. And we can grab this and just twist it a little. That'll come up. And there's our tensioner. A little oil on the O-rings. Get this shoved in there. And there it goes. Another shoe goes on the bottom. All right, a couple of synchronizers. Let's get them installed next. Again, the exhaust has one colored link. Intake has two. And on this side, our mark. Let's see. So these are the same part numbers for left and right bank. So our right bank, which this is right bank, is right here is the mark. If it were obviously on the left-hand bank, it would be going by this mark. So this should be about 11 o'clock. It's marked with an R. So let's get that put on there. See if we can get it aligned. There we go. That's where we need to be. Our chain is center of the tensioner. Okay, we gotta find 6 more of those new bolts, which are right here. I'll finish getting these put in here, get them all torqued, and then we need to rotate this crank to the 730 position. So this keyway would go to the 730 position, and then we can put on our timing chain. So I'll finish up here and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so we got our synchronizers all torqued down. I did rotate the crankshaft. So turn it clockwise till your mark, or the keyway, is at the 730 position. So we're back to where we started from. All right, so find our links that are different colors. Here's this one, other one's down there. Let's see if we can get this chain on and get it aligned here. The mark's aligned anyway. We're so close. I'm just gonna move this just a touch, and we're so close. Right there. That should be it. So that is on the right hand, so it's marked R with the timing mark. Right there, that's on. Recheck this one, and that is on. Let's get our upper guide put in there. This guy right here. Get our bottom guide. Trying to hold it up and get it put in there. Like that. Then we get our tensioner and get that bolted in there. I can see what I'm doing. Let's double check our marks. That mark is good. This mark, well, that looks good too. Okay, so we're gonna torque these down again, 89 inch-pounds on this guide, 2 bolts for the tensioner. Then we'll pull the pin. Got the cover all cleaned up. We got a new seal in it. All our actuators. These are 71 inch-pounds plus another 20 degrees. So, new gasket. One thing you do have to worry about is when you put these in, make sure that little roll pin goes through the flange there. Like that one there. All right, let's get this put back on the vehicle. We got to get something done here. So, time lapse again. We'll get the cover on, start getting this thing put back together, finish it up. It is the next day in the shop. So last night off camera, I cleaned some valve covers up, got my new seals and gaskets installed. A thermostat housing. Got our new gasket in here, new thermostat, new gasket there. I did replace the O-rings in here also. So yeah, all the O-rings get replaced. Those cause a lot of leaks on these. So we're going to take care of it while we do this job. Got a new seal here for the throttle body. Probably should clean that throttle body first. Then of course our new dipstick tube. Still can't believe I broke that. What do you do? So this morning it is 15 degrees out. So let's see what this compressor does this morning. I have a feeling we'll be just fine. But yesterday, this thing was on the struggle bus. I mean, it blew the breaker like twice throughout the day. She did not want to turn. Let's see what she does. That's the way it should run. "15 degrees. It was minus 22 yesterday. All right, guys. I'm gonna finish my coffee. And then we're gonna get started on this. Get it finished up. We got valve covers to put on it. The thermostat housing, 89 inch-pounds. People ask me for torque specs all the time. 89 on the valve covers. Thermostat housing is 89. I believe the throttle body might also be 89. That might be 60 something plus a certain degree, but 89. So yeah, we're gonna get this finished up and change oil on it. We got to get it cleaned up, and then yeah, we start it, and should be done. Let's get going. she's time to start it. First thing we're gonna do is prime it a little bit. So we're just gonna step on the skinny pedal, crank it over. That doesn't allow the fuel injectors to fire, so it won't start. Let's crank her over. We got oil pressure there. You notice that this thing only has like 64,000 miles on it? All right, so that should be it. Foot off the gas. Let's crank it over, see what happens. No misfires. She's nice and quiet. Take this old sticker out of here. Oops. Give them a new one. Just got done checking it over. Looks real good, no leaks. She's up to operating temp. Sounds nice and quiet. Let's go take her for a drive. She's got some power. Should probably go speed limit. All right, guys, I gotta take this for a test drive. As always, thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.